Hello and welcome back to my videos. I'm Klepik and today I decided to torture myself and draw super detailed and complex backgrounds. Yay! Are you saying yay too as I sob my eyes out? This monstrosity of a challenge all started when I drew this atrocity and then thought, I have to remedy this horrible, awful drawing by making 4 other awesome drawings to counter this terribleness. So here we are, drawing my characters' rooms so I can remedy the worst drawing I've done in a while. So first we have Bose's room. For Bose's room, it took a lot for me to remember he's like rich, like rich. He is a huge celebrity and pop star / metal singer and makes absolute bank. Most of his money does go to his family and various charities because he knows he doesn't need that much money, but he still owns a pretty big penthouse. His reasoning for owning a penthouse is because he wanted a pretty big place with lots of bedrooms in case his family ever comes to visit in America. All the things in his room I like to imagine are very expensive or authentic vintage things. I had a back and forth with my friend whose favorite character of mine is Bo, deciding what his room would look like because I really wasn't sure how it would look. Then they sent me these inspirations from Pinterest on how they thought his room would look, and I automatically saw the vision. I was reading the room. I was literally looking at the room, actually. His room is pretty red, like his character design, because I love monochromatic characters, but it is dark and cozy too. He has a lot of shelves for books and literature because he really enjoys reading in his pastime, something his younger brother introduced him to. He also has pretty big curtains that are covered at night and in this drawing, but when they're opened, they are absolutely huge. The windows are like across the wall because he does own a couple plants by the window, so I thought it'd be nice if he had some giant windows to like let them not die. He has a fancy vintage desk by the wall that we're pretending has a desk chair where he often writes letters to his family back home, and he also has a lot of their own letters and photos pinned to the board above. I think rooms can say a lot about your characters. If they're done with intention and thought behind them, I think they can give you a lot of insight and even let you learn more about your characters. For example, I didn't really realize Bo enjoyed reading until I thought, what if I put bookshelves in his room? What would that say about him? What would he enjoy reading? I think he would enjoy old literature, English and French, and I made his favorite book Dorian Gray because I love the book, and it's like the only old English book that I've actually read, so. On to Frasier and Dottie's room. Now, I had a pretty clear view for this room. This room is one of the key rooms or key settings in the video game that I'm working on, so I went into this drawing having a pretty good idea of what to do. This room I don't think is the finalized version of the video game room, but it captures the vibe. So Dottie lets Frasier crash with them in their side of the warehouse where Dottie lives and performs for their circus, and Dottie was even kind enough to give Frasier a mattress of his own. Oh my gosh, they're so nice. Granted that the mattress is at least 50 years old, molding, probably has a couple springs sticking out and a huge bug infestation inside, but that's besides the point. It's the thought that counts. Since Frasier doesn't have a personality of his own, the decoration and theming of their massive circus room was mostly done by Dottie. Dottie loves collecting antiques and thrifting, so their room is pretty much just a giant hoarding space as seen along the walls that spill into the more central parts of the room as well. Dottie also, of course, performs for their circus, so I put some bleachers on the side for an audience and a couple objects for tricks, like a diving board and some high-up swings. Sorry, I have no idea the technical names for those things, so we're just calling them that. I really tried to go for an overwhelming feeling with this room, and the detail I had to add definitely took me a while to do. I'd say this room was by far the hardest one I had to do because of all of its insane amount of detail. I also made sure to include a bunch of details to Dottie's character that I won't be going into because it'll spoil my video game story, but I'll let you in on a couple. The barrel full of water in the front and the portrait on the back left wall. Make of that what you will. What kind of backstory does that tell of Dottie? Who's to say? I can, but I won't. So we're moving on. Let's talk about Deja's room. I had a lot of fun with Deja's room and figuring out what she would like. I was talking to my friend the other day who was like, hey, headcanon, Deja would really be into crochet. And it took me a while to actually see this, but yeah, she would. She would love crochet and quilting and sewing. I think since starting working for Arya, she would try to expand her horizons to things she's never gotten to try. Her whole childhood was absorbed with ballet, so she never really got to do anything that she really loved. Her room was bland and she didn't get to have any other interests besides ballet, so she would definitely try to expand and enjoy things that she didn't get to in her childhood through her room and current hobbies. So with this information in mind, I tried to make her room really fun with decorations and paint and stuff. Her bed comforter is a blanket that she quilted, so is the rug by her bed, and she has yarn balls throughout the room. I also put a giant dance arcade machine in her room because she loves dance, so I think she would really love that. I'm giving my most nonchalant and monotone character the most grandma activities and most colorful room, but I still feel like these things fit her really well. I also might just be laughing at the possibility too. It can be both. I can do both. And I can also see Deja curled up in her bed, looking out her window and working on a project for hours before or after work, and I really like thinking about that. Let's go on to the last room, Arya's room. Now, you're gonna look at this room and be like, where's the bed? Where's the bedroom part of the room? So, that stupid looking piano couch is her bed. So is her chair at her desk. That's what we're working with here. Arya is like such an incredible workaholic when it comes to her music. Most nights she just ends up falling asleep while working at her desk in her chair. She then wakes up and then gets back to work. Like wake up 2 seconds later, she's already working at her computer again. She thought a bed would take up too much space in her room that could be used for music and instruments instead. So she got that stupid looking piano couch instead to curl up in if she even makes it to bed instead of just sleeping at her desk. Also, do you see that blanket on her couch? That suspicious looking quilted blanket on her couch? Yeah, Deja made her a blanket, and I giggled every time I see it because I cannot picture Deja working in her bed for Arya's blanket because she knows Arya never sleeps well, and then I get to imagine Arya getting a good night's sleep on her stupid looking couch with the blanket Deja made her. I love them so much. Anyway, Arya's room is so incredibly teched out with music and instruments and DJ boards and laptops and computers and cords and speakers, and I think Arya's favorite instrument would have to be the keyboard. Hers is definitely modded and she can input various sounds into each key to make interesting melodies. Also, her keyboard's name is named Delilah, if you're wondering, because she named it, because of course she did. Anyway, besides the instruments, her room is also completely littered with pages and pages of scrapped lyrics and notes ideas for songs. So there's just piles of paper throughout her room. She probably just tosses crumpled up pieces of abandoned notes behind her and then they land where they land and she continues to work. I think this has been my most detailed video yet in terms of giving character details for my characters. I really enjoyed making these drawings and learning more about my guys, and I hope you enjoyed learning about them too and seeing these drawings. Again, I really incredibly recommend you try this exercise. It can really build your skills, especially if you're like me and absolutely despise drawing backgrounds usually. I found it really motivating actually to draw these instead of just random backgrounds that I had no ties to for some practice, because this was in its essence just a form of practice. Also, let me know which room's your favorite. Which room would you take a fat ass nap in? I'm gonna be like those Instagrams where it's like the stock image bedroom pictures, and it's like, where are you taking the nap the hardest? Yeah, where are you taking a nap the hardest out of all of these rooms? Let me know below. I'm curious. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm currently trying to grow my channel, so I would really appreciate it if you could help by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you so much for your support on my videos. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye!